All right, welcome back to the Black Summit. I am Brooks.
And I am Hendricks.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about what's going on over in Israel and Palestine. It seemed like at the beginning of the war that everybody was kind of on the side of Israel, but then they started to realize that Palestine was not Hamas.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, we condemn any acts of violence against these people, especially the women and children who have nothing to do with this war that these people are fighting. But it seemed like Dave Chappelle actually caught a little bit of stray bullets from some of his comments. And of course, you know, Dave Chappelle is no stranger to controversy. And so it looks like he did a show in Boston and a bunch of stuff went down. I've got a video here that I'm going to play for us, and then we'll talk about it.
Chappelle has found himself in a new controversy in 2023 as Wild throws us another curveball. It doesn't have to do with trans people. Instead, it's being reported that he caused a stir after bringing up Israel and Palestine during a show at TD Garden in Boston. So according to the Wall Street Journal, Chappelle first condemned the attack on Israel carried out by Hamas, but then slammed Israel's bombing of Gaza, which he called a war crime. But all this had to come up when Chappelle said he didn't think that students should lose opportunities like job offers for supporting Palestinians. And according to reports, his remarks caused some divide, one person allegedly shouting for him to shut up, and Chappelle reportedly went on to criticize the Israeli government for cutting off water and supplies to Gaza, saying it is killing innocent people. So with all that, some audience members told the Wall Street Journal that people in the crowd cheered free Palestine, while others said, what about Hamas? Some also apparently getting up and leaving. Now, as far as his thoughts on the situation, a spokesperson for Chappelle told the Wall Street Journal that the comedian, quote, denies being in Boston that night, though if you go to the TD Gardens website, you can see that he had shows for October 19th and 20th. You also with this have some outlets pointing to a Facebook status made by one person who claimed they attended the show, with that person alleging that in addition to people saying go Palestine, some said go Hamas, writing that some Jewish people walked out of the show because the environment felt unsafe to them. But also with that, it is worth noting that it's unclear if that Facebook status has been verified, especially because also unverified. You have people in the Dave Chappelle subreddit saying things like, I was there wasn't a big walkout. One person yelled, shut the fuck up at Dave, and then allegedly walked out. That's it. The crowd wasn't yelling go Hamas or free Palestine, claiming it was actually a very poignant moment of the show. Dave Chappelle has found himself in a new...
So that's basically what happened. What are your thoughts on like this whole Dave Chappelle situation? It sounds like his team has come out and said that he wasn't even there, you know, which is kind of crazy. I don't know if that's true or not. We should probably say allegedly.
Yeah.
But yeah, what do you think about all of this?
Because I see an article on on the New York Times as well, pretty much stating the same thing you said. And it was saying the set was on Thursday, the first of a pair of shows Mr. Chappelle had at Boston TD Garden, and no jokes or commentary about the war had been planned, said the spokeswoman, Carla Sims. So they said, like you said, the remarks was first reported on Wall Street Journal, which said the audience members had cheered Mr. Chappelle as he spoke about the conflict while others walked out. The Los Angeles Times reported that perhaps 200 people in the roughly 17,000 person audience had departed toward the end of the show. But this is the quote. It says, and I don't know if this is a Chappelle quote or if this is Carla Sims, the spokeswoman. Once again, this is coming from the New York Times. But the quote says, as a comedian and a satirist, he has to navigate the complexities of competing truths, presenting perspectives that can be both thought-provoking and challenging. Ms. Sims said of Mr. Chappelle. Okay, so it is the spokeswoman who said that. Mm-hmm. Honestly, I think that, you know, far as with this and, you know, coming from you know, from what what I think Dave Chappelle was saying, and I'll sum it up with the last article that said in the New York Times, and this is what I think Dave Chappelle meant from this article, and I'm gonna read it again. This is the last part of the article. It says he eventually acknowledged that the person. Well, okay, just to bring people up to speed, there was a heckler in the audience who told Dave Chappelle to shut up, allegedly, right?
Right.
And then he told him, once you shut up, so the guy was angry or whatever. And then in the last article, it says, he eventually acknowledged that the person who had told him to shut up had been right to be angry. According to the person who heard the tape, I don't know which tape or whatever, but he encouraged people to talk to one another and emphasized that everyone should remember that human beings, and I say again, human beings had been killed in conflict. So that's human beings on both sides. You know, once again, it's unfortunate about this war, and you know, he went on to say things about Israel. What did they do? Were horrific. Well, no, let me take that back. He said attacks on October 7th were horrific, and also criticize Israel for its role in displacing more than 1 million people and withholding food, water, and fuel. The comedian added that people on both sides of the conflict needed to self-reflect and consider how they were treating each other, which I agree with that on both sides of the coin or the table, however you want to put it. Human beings are dying, and it's sad to see little kids, innocent children on both sides of this. But again, like you said, Hamas is not Palestine, right?
Yeah.
So tell the people, what is Hamas? You know what Hamas is?
Hamas is a terrorist group. I don't know how they were founded or why, and you know, I don't know how they came to have such power inside of the Palestinian or this war, but or how people thought that they spoke for the Palestinian people. You know, so I honestly don't know that much about them, but I do know that people have mistaken them as you know, the Palestinian people. And so that's why people were like, oh, let's burn down Gaza. And I think that that wasn't an appropriate thing to, or an appropriate response to what happened, especially when you realize that there's tons of people who don't hold the same views as Hamas. Now, again, I can sit here and say that I'm kind of ignorant to the whole thing because I'm not there, right? I'm not Palestinian. I'm not an Israelite. And so I don't know exactly what is going on, but from my perspective, I'm just sad to see so much, you know, bloodshed and people dying and kids and women and children dying. And so I think that what Dave Chappelle was trying to do was kind of, you know, ride the line of both. You know, you can say, to me, you can say that, you know, those actions were bad and still say that there are good people in Palestine, because there are. That's the truth. You know, you can say that, you know, it was bad, some of the bombings that have happened to the Palestinian people. And you can say that it was bad, you know, with some of the Israelites, you know, and you can, you know, unequivocally say that Hamas is a terrible group and is, you know, a terrorist, you know, group. So, you know, I think he was trying to, you know, ride that line. And I think that people are super sensitive about it. I mean, I've noticed that people are very, you know, quick to cut you off if you say anything about anything that's going on. And so is that a good approach? I don't know. But, you know, I think that, you know, we can have a conversation of whether comedians should even be talking about these kinds of things, because it is like a tough subject to kind of delve into. But, it's Dave Chappelle. I mean, he is no stranger to controversy. He always, kind of rides that line of, oh yeah, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to talk about politics and I'm going to give my opinion. And I think it's kind of weird, everything surrounding this story, because, as you know, they're talking about, oh, he wasn't even there. It's like, what? So I don't know what's going on. How could you not be at a show, that you were scheduled for? It just sounds a little weird, everything that's coming out about this. And I think it's something that we'll know more about in the coming days.
Hamas. From my understanding, Hamas was supposed to be, I don't know if I'm 100% right, supposed to be uplift the Palestine people, because the Palestinian people are somewhat being, they're supposed to be, what's the word, by Israel. They're supposed to be somewhat, help me out here. I'm
under siege?
No, I don't want to say under siege.
Or
they're like, let's say they're supposedly overran by Israel, right?
Okay.
So the Hamas supposed to be, I think they were supposed to be like the upliftment of the Palestinian people.
Right.
But Hamas is actually a government. It's a military government that they seize control, right? So what I'm reading here, it says Hamas is officially the Islamic resistance movement, is a Sunni Islamist political and military organization governing the Gaza Strip of the Palestinian territories. While it is headquartered in Gaza City, it is also a presence in the West Bank, in which it is secular rival of Fatah exercises control. So they're actually a military organization. They're actually a government. Because they govern and they run. But are they uplifting the Palestinian people against Israel? I guess that's the question, because everybody says Hamas is a terrorist group. If they are terrorists, I mean, I don't know. Maybe not. I don't know. Do Palestinians, of course, Israel feel that they are terrorists. Do Palestinians feel that Hamas are a terrorist group? Or they say Hamas don't speak for every Palestinian?
Yeah, I think that they don't speak for every Palestinian. I think that some Palestinian people probably do side with them.
Mm-hmm.
But, I think the majority of them don't. They are a really radical group. They're, it is something, I've read some of the things that they've have in like their constitution or the things that they believe. And it is kind of out there, like some of the stuff that they say about Jews, So there's no doubt that I don't think these people are good. But, I do think that that doesn't mean that they speak for the Palestinian people. Or at least not for all of them. But do you think this show happened with Dave Chappelle? What is your...
who said that Dave said that he wasn't there in Boston?
A spokesperson for him said that.
Oh, but then the article I read, there was another spokesperson, Carla Sims. I guess, was she saying that he was there?
I guess so.
Spokeswoman, I should say.
I don't know. But
and they said there's no footage, because no footage wasn't allowed unless if someone has some type of footage. And granted, New York Times said he did have dates to speak, but I mean, he had dates. Did he show up? Did he cancel them? Was he there?
Yeah, we don't know. All we can do is kind of speculate. Do you think that comedians should even talk about like this kind of a subject? Because this is something that, right now with, foreign policy, and we're going to get into this a little bit later with, Joe Biden and some of those guys, like what's going on. But do you think that he should even have an opinion on what's going on?
I think he should. I think he should have opinion. And he's no stranger to controversy. So I think he can have opinion. Of course, people have a right to feel the way they feel. Palestinians are going to stand in solidarity. Palestinians, as I said before, Israel going to stand in solidarity with Israel. So they both feel like they're being wronged on both sides.
Right.
And you know, a lot of conspiracy theories that came out, or some factual things, some non-factual things, saying about the way Israel is treating Palestinians, and you know, and then the way Palestinians or Hamas is done to Israel. You know, so you know, there's different disputes on both sides. But I think he's entitled to his opinion. You know, I really do. Because think about it. If he wasn't saying, let's say allegedly, you know, how some of the Palestinians are suffering under, I guess, Israel regime, I guess, if you will. Mm-hmm. If he was pro-Israel, like being in America, I don't think he wouldn't have got no flack. You know what I mean? Or at least not as much, not as much flack or whatever. I mean, I'm sure there'll probably be some Palestinian people who would speak out against whatever he had to say. But if he was, you know, just saying whatever, you know, pro-Israel this or pro-Israel that, regardless of whatever happened or whatever they do in the Palestinian people or whatever, I don't think he would get as much negative press behind it.
Yeah, if you say anything, you know, pro-Palestinian, I've noticed that people, they don't like that.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you notice, our government is starting to give aid to the Palestinians.
Yeah.
They had like a caravan of like supplies and stuff like that going through. They were trying to get it through Egypt. And there were some reports about it being blocked. And then I think some aid got in. So it's like, you know, they're trying, though, to help out the Palestinian people. You know, of course, you know, Israel's one of our allies. Mm-hmm. And so we've, you know, Joe Biden has been like 100% behind them and supporting them. And he even made a trip over there.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are saying that he's starting to look a little more presidential. Because, you know, it's been a rough time with Joe Biden and some of these people. I don't know if you saw any of the footage of him going over.
I heard about it. No,
some of the speeches that he's been giving.
I heard brief speech about what he was saying.
But what are your thoughts on him going over there and talking? Yeah,
and far as giving aid.
Yeah, and giving aid and stuff like that.
Well, I look at it as like, okay, when I was in the military, there's a thing. You ever heard of Geneva Convention? The Geneva Convention?
Mm-hmm. I've heard of that.
Okay. You know what it is?
I don't know much about it.
The Geneva Convention is, if you're in war with someone, just because you attack them and bomb them, then you still turn around and give them materials or whatever they need to rebuild or to help restore their people in the land. For example, like if you're in a wartime and say you're shooting, and on the enemy side there's a paramedic or you don't shoot at their paramedic. You know, that's the Geneva Convention that's supposed to be applied by all countries, but not all countries live up to that.
Right.
You know, America, each other. So it's like they're aiding Israel, of course, because Israel's an ally. But at the same time, they know the attacks on either side, but yet they're still giving aid to Palestine as well. But I don't think I didn't see where Israel had a problem with that. You know, because Israel getting the bulk of the aid and the money that they kick out to Israel every year. So
yeah.
I don't have a problem with him doing that. Honestly, I'll be honest with you. Even that he aid Israel, okay, you know, they've been doing that, it is what it is. But I don't have a problem with him giving aid to Palestinian people because, once again, man, it's human beings dead on both sides. And that's truly...
That's what people are forgetting.
And as the thing is, and most people forget about the Israelis or the Palestinians, just other people in general who pick a side, right? Hopefully they never been in a situation like that where their loved ones, and they have to see people dead on both sides or whatever, and thankfully you don't have to go through that. But if you put yourself in these people's shoes, and when you seeing little babies being killed, whether they're Israeli or they're Palestinian, I don't care who you are. If you don't feel some type of way about that, it's hard to say that, are you human? Do you have any compassion for humanity,
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
One thing I've noticed, though, too, I don't know if you noticed that, there's more money being shelled out.
I noticed.
They're saying that they're going to send $106 billion to Israel. And, as you know, we've been going on with this war in Ukraine, and America seems like we're just funding all of these wars, and it's getting up to almost $500 billion that we're spending on these wars. What are your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are man, what is our economy going to look like? What are they going to do to us to repay these monies spent out? What are they going to do to our economy? How's that going to look for us? Am I being a bit selfish? Honestly, yeah. I mean, everyone, I don't care who, everyone has a bit of selfishness in them. Because at the end of the day, sometimes, you look out for others, but if you don't take care of yourself first, you won't be able to take care of others.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wonder how is that going to look for our economy, because trust me, they're going to get that money back some kind of way.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to get that back some kind of way.
Inflation has been going up and stuff.
Yeah, and the stock market looked like crap. So, and I ain't making no money off none of my stocks, neither my crypto. So,
yeah, I how I feel about this. I feel lied to. I feel betrayed. I feel, completely, made to look like a fool, because years ago when they were telling us we couldn't have any health care, I'm not 100% for reparations, but they told us we couldn't do reparations. All right. They told us that some of these social services that would help people, we couldn't do that. We couldn't give people, money to the poor, we couldn't do all of these things, but yet we're out here giving almost $500 billion to these wars that are happening right now. These wars that didn't even need to happen. I mean, when you think about the Ukrainian war and this Palestinian war, both of these wars did not need to happen. And if there was a different regime in office, this wouldn't have been happening. Now, I'm mad at America and the government because, I feel like we've been lied to, man. I mean, if we're shelling out all this money to these people who aren't really Americans, I mean, listen, they're our allies, and I think that I think it's good that we're supporting them, and it's good to be people of our word, but don't lie to the American people, because now we see that you guys can really shell out some money. Cut some checks for some of the stuff that's happening here in America. Cut some checks for people who are suffering here in America. Because let me tell you something, people go to war every single day. Maybe it's not, shooting people up and doing all this other stuff, but the people are out here fighting for their lives, and we act like we can't help them. But we're over here, anytime any kind of war pops up, we're ready to give people all kinds of supplies and do all kinds of things. We're talking about another $100 billion that's about to go to a war that did not need to happen. And, listen, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do when, 2024 rolls around and it's time for us to vote. But I can tell you right now, I'm not voting for Joe Biden.
Not voting for Biden, no. Come on, man. You got to vote for Biden. You got to vote for Biden.
I guess I ain't black.
Yeah, you ain't black. You think Biden gonna put some money in your pocket?
But listen. I mean, I feel like they've lied to us, man. I mean,
I want to go back to something you said. I know. Why are you not for reparations?
I didn't. I'm of the opinion that reparations is, if it's reparations in the form of giving money to people, I don't care who you are, white, black, if you are a poor person and you're just given a ton of money, you're going to blow it. We see it every time somebody wins the lottery. Those people get that money and then they just go spend it on whatever. And so I think that in order to completely change or to make up for what America did to, the descendants of slaves, in order to make up for that, I think that there needs to be some financial literacy before we shelve out a bunch of money to people who don't know how to, manage the money that they have right now. I mean, listen, I'm one of the people, a few years ago, I wasn't good with money. I'm better with money now. I don't even think that I'm that great now. But I could tell you a few years ago, if somebody gave me $1 million, I would be poor today, So, and I think there's a lot of people, especially, people who never had much money who, who would get some money like that and would blow it. And again, we see it every time somebody wins the lottery. And so I think that there needs to be some financial literacy before you just give out money to people. That's my opinion.
So you think that if they put financial literacy courses in place, what if people if they choose not to take it, you don't think they should get there, even though they owed reparations, you don't think they should get it?
Listen, you can get it. I just think that, to me, it's going to be a trap, because what's going to happen is people will get that money and then they go and blow it. And then
like the Dave Chappelle skit,
the government and those people are going to come back and they're going to say, well, we gave you what you were owed. What do you want us to do now? And so I think it's a trap. Think that. Go ahead.
No, you saw that Dave Chappelle skit?
No, is it basically what I just said?
Yeah.
Okay.
But people in the hood.
Yeah, I don't think my opinion is
get all the money, and what they doing once they got the. You never saw that?
No, I don't think my opinion is something new. It's something that people have always thought about, and something that I think about a lot. I think that there needs to be some kind of financial literacy, even if we don't get reparations. I feel like we need financial, especially literacy in the Black community, a little bit, because, I feel like, we're very materialistic. Listen, I'm not speaking out of my, what. We, even though we are in the lower half of income, in America, we make, what is it? We make up $3 trillion spent every year. Yeah,
something like that.
I don't know the
exact numbers, but
nobody's really close to how much money we spend every year. And so, I just think that what I'm saying is not just me trying to get views, this is something that is kind of fact. And so I think, and it happens to be because of a lot of psychological problems and different things that we've gone through, traumas, that have been passed down to us, and how we feel self-conscious, and, we feel like we're almost not enough. So it's easy for us to go after symbols, like Kanye would say, for us to try to get into a Benz, we spend tons of money on hair products every year. We spend tons of money on fragrances and stuff like that every year. And a lot of people, if we got a chance to get a certain type of car, you better believe we're trying to get it. Because, I think that we kind of, in a way, because of what was done to us, we feel like we're not enough ourselves. And we're always trying to prove ourselves to people, even though we don't need to. We don't need to prove ourselves to anybody. And so I think with all of that in mind, yeah, I think that that's a tough thing.
So you saying if you had that kind of bread, you ain't gonna buy a Tesla? You know good well you want a Tesla.
I would love a Tesla, but I wouldn't. I personally, I wouldn't go and do that.
So you would keep your same car?
Yeah, I mean, because I now know, like, okay, $1 million is not even close to enough to live on. Like, I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, if I got $1 million, I'm quitting my job. I'm doing, like, in today's world, $1 million ain't nothing. Like you need to like have, like 10, $20 million to like actually quit your job and like do whatever and just live off of your money for the rest of your life. Like in today's world, $1 million ain't nothing, you know? So anyways.
I'm for reparations. Well, you know that.
Yeah, I know you're for reparations.
Some people fuck over their money. Yeah, I mean that's true. I mean, hell, even white people fuck over. I know plenty.
That's
of white
what I'm
people,
saying.
They fuck over money.
You see it with the lottery every year.
But I mean, should they have financial literacy? I agree with that too, 100%. But at the end of the day, and honestly, I think more people will invest, or they wouldn't just blow all their money now. Because even for example, even look at the rappers. And granted, some of them got bread like that and some of them don't. Granted, they wear a whole bunch of gaudy jewelry and stuff like that. But you actually have some of the young guys actually doing smart things. They buying real estate and they invest in their money and things like that, which is great, which is great, And so some people will mess with money, but I think that's a small percentage. I think a lot will do some things. Now, granted, if anything, I think some of the money, they don't necessarily need nobody to do. They may say they invest in some little restaurants that don't probably do too good, because you don't need a whole bunch of soul food restaurants, stuff like that, little things like that. But I think for the most part, everyone will do what they need to do with that money, because at the end of the day, it's reparations, it's repair. That's what that means. They have to repair the damages that has been done for 400 plus years.
Yeah.
And you have to make these people whole. And I know we kind of segue a little bit, but once again, like you said, for them giving all this money away,
exactly.
And when it came to us, they would say, "Oh, where this money going to come from? Where the money go?" They had the money because it says roughly about $220 trillion that circulates our economy. Mm-hmm. So you figure we average about 40? I say a little over 40 million people, blacks in America. If they gave every black person $1 million, how much would that be?
I don't know. I'm not good at math.
You're not good at math?
How much would that be?
40. So if you had 40 people, you give each person $1 million. That's what, 40 million? That's 40 million, right?
Yeah.
That's 40 million. So, and if we got 40 million people, that's what? Is that something like?
Which, it's not even that many people. I think maybe.
But they were saying it's
probably
roughly
like,
about 40
20 million
no, they were saying
actually descend from slaves, or what is it? Because not all of the black people.
No, not all, but the you're talking about far as Africans that came here. That's the only other blacks. Caribbeans came here, but Caribbeans need reparations as well, because that's how they got in Brazil and all the Caribbeans. They also need reparations, but they won't do that under a U.S. government because that wasn't in the treaty for them. They would have to, atone for that. But they were saying roughly about 40 million people. But I honestly think they could afford to give every black person in America $1 million. You know, do we need more than that? We do need more than that.
You're gonna need more than that.
Yeah, you need financial literacy.
Yeah,
you do need that. I agree, but I say still give them that money.
Because I mean, if you look at like, and Chad Ojocinco talks about this all the time. Most of the NFL players who have gotten millions of dollars, they blow it. Most of these rappers who have gotten millions of dollars blow it. You know, like, so it's not just something that like I feel like you can just throw a bunch of money at the community and we're all of a sudden gonna like flourish, you know? So, I mean, I think it'll definitely help out some people, you know, but I think there's, for those who don't really know what to do with their money, you know.
But, you know, that was back then when Chad Ochocinco. If you look at it now, I mean, some are blowing, yeah. So, trust me, they're definitely spending money. But nowadays in the NFL, they do have financial literacy set aside for them to tell them what to do with their money and not get caught up by groupies and crazy investments and things like that. Because even Deion Sanders went as far as to have his college kids. He brought Brittany, what's her name? Brittany Renner. Yeah. Brought her in and let them know what's up when you know, with these women and what time they be on. And, you know, but I you know, trust me, the knowledge is out there if you so wish to seek it. The knowledge, we in the information age, there's really no, if we ever get reparations before any of our eyes close, there is no excuse for anybody, because if you didn't have internet before, because they say a lot of urban families don't have internet, if you get reparations and now there's no excuse not to have internet, you can have a TV in every room if you want to. There's no excuse. So the information is there for you to get the financial literacy you need. Right.
But are people going to do that?
I think they will. I have faith. I think they will. I think they will. I think they will. I think they'll do it. And granted, that's not to say that they won't make some mistakes along the way. But then when you realize, like, dang, I'm making mistakes, so I'm eating away at funds and not, you know, recuperating funds, I think eventually they will, you know what I'm saying? Like when I used to own a few rental properties, it's some hood dudes. They would ask me, man, you got this, you know? And I would tell them, you know, anybody with the knowledge, whatever I did for us with real estate, I would share that knowledge with them. And hopefully in one day they could do the same, what I did, and then teach somebody else. Each one, reach one, teach one.
Yeah, for sure. What we can agree on is that America has enough money. It's obvious.
Yeah, that's obvious. It's obvious.
Stop lying to the people. Stop telling us that we ain't got the money to help out people. I mean, listen, man, we could like pull some of these people out of homelessness with all this money we're just throwing around.
And help veterans.
The veterans, everybody. It's like, y'all definitely told us a fib. You know, that we couldn't spend money and that, it would bankrupt the economy. I believed in that, man.
You believe that?
I believed that. I can't believe I believed that.
Dang. But like, you did. You did believe it.
We good. Like, it looks like we good. You know what I'm saying? Like, it looks like we got that money, dog.
Yeah. And honestly, from what I heard, I don't know the exact number, but I've heard that they, not only just for this war, because Israel is such a big ally, they give Israel so much money every year. They allot funds to Israel every year.
We give a lot of money to our allies every year. A lot
of money.
And it just feels weird, man.
My thing is this: should something happen or something falter with America, do you think that they would give us money? Maybe.
Then people don't care.
And this is the thing.
But we're the world power. So that's why.
Is their money, will their money be worth anything in our country? Because we don't spend nobody else's currency.
Yeah.
But our own, so.
Yeah, I know. I mean, listen, we're the world power. And so I get it. Like, we're supposed to be helping these people out. But, like, it does feel weird that, like, we can't even help out our own people.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, like, Israel's trying to help out their people.
Of course. Oh, yeah.
You know?
Israel going to definitely take care.
They're going to look out for their people before they start looking out for Americans.
Yeah, they definitely going to take care.
Okay, most of these countries don't, you know, let me stop before I get in trouble.
And you know what's crazy? In America, we don't even have that many natural resources. Like we can't even touch Africa. You know what I mean? Natural resource. Africa should be the richest. I believe it is, for resources wise, it is the richest continent on this planet from natural resources.
Yeah, that's why China and all these other places are trying to buy land there.
Yeah, they're trying to get in.
So
I need to buy some land in Africa. Tap into those natural resources. Welcome me to the motherland.
We do have good resources here in America.
We do, but we can't touch
oil
Africa.
And some of these different things that we have. You know, we just have different resources. But you know, I mean, it's weird that this administration. I know I keep harping back on this, but like, they don't want to use the oil here. They're going over to Saudi Arabia and all these other places to get their oil.
We don't have as much as they have. We do
have the ability to do it, but they just want to. They're on this energy kick. Everything has to be about energy and like saving.
You falls with electric energy.
Yeah, no. Just like, you know, they don't want us to be like burning coal
with clean energy. Yeah, of course.
So
that way you don't be subject, like you said, to Saudi Arabia and subject to other.
Everybody's on
gas prices.
Everybody's on this climate change thing, and so for some reason we think that it's smarter for us to go and get it from over there. But look at our gas prices; they're high as I don't know what. And if we drilled here, I don't in America, it would make the prices go down.
It would, but I mean, they do drill here because even Bush father had they had a oil refinery that actually went under. Bush Senior and Bush Junior, you know, that speculation is some of the reason why he attacked Saddam Hussein and things like that because they attacked.
Right.
So that's a whole nother rabbit hole. But I don't think we have as much natural resources here because. Not
as Africa, I don't think.
Of course not. Not even as Saudi, because remember, the main place where they should drill for oil at, Texas, right? Then they had this. Then they started going. You know, now you got oil over in the water, overseas, and you know what I'm saying.
All I'm saying is this: that we have enough to sustain ourselves here, because we were doing it during a different administration.
I don't know,
now
man.
we've shut down a lot of that production to go overseas because we're trying to be all clean, you know?
Well, they want clean energy. Everything's going to be electric after a while. I say about 40, 50 years.
Yeah. Listen, I'm down for electric. I'm progressive. I want, you know, like you were talking about the Teslas and stuff. I would love a Tesla, you know? So, you know, I'm down with, you know, recycling and doing all that stuff. But, you know, I just think that, we got to take care of things right now.
Oh, we lost old blue.
Yeah. Before we go too crazy with things. So, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Well, the NBA is back this week.
Yeah.
And,
NBA is back this week. And
it seems like we're going to have some good games. It should be a good season. But we also got a story coming up about Dwight Howard. He's been in a little bit of legal trouble. Here recently.
Yeah.
And you got that for us.
Yeah. So it says that I'm reading here. Dwight Howard, Dwight Howard acknowledges a hookup with a man from Instagram. But he denies a sexual insult and forced threesome. So it says Dwight Howard acknowledged the hookup with the man from Instagram, denies a sexual assault and forced threesome. The defendant stood up. The defendant stood up, and I guess his name is what they call him, Mr. Harper. I don't know, whatever. But and I'm reading this. It's the defendant stood up, towering over Mr. Harper, grabbed Mr. Harper by the thighs. Forcibly, so Dwight Howard is towering over him. That they're saying. Mm-hmm. So Dwight Howard is the defendant, right? And Mr. Harper is the plaintiff. So he says Dwight Howard towered over him. He said, "Grab Mr. Harper by the thighs, forcibly removed Mr. Harper's underwear, held Mr. Harper down, and performed non-consensual oral sex on Mr. Harper." The suit read, Mr. Harper was in fear of imminent bodily harm when he was pinned down and forced to remain in place while defendant is Dwight Howard continued to sexually assault him. Harper claimed that Howard stopped the sexual act when he realized he wasn't enjoying it. Well, Mr. Harper wasn't enjoying it. Afterward, Howard directed Harper to his bed, where he and Kitty engaged in sexual acts. According to the lawsuit, Howard forced Harper into oral sex and then arranged for Kitty to drive him home. The lawsuit states that Howard is facing charges of assault, battery, emotional distress, and false imprisonment. So I think Kitty is supposed to be
the third person.
Yeah, I think Kitty is supposed to be trans, or
third person in this.
Is Kitty a trans, or is that a man?
I don't know.
I think I heard something briefly about this. Did you know that? Is Dwight Howard, is he bisexual? Is he gay?
I guess he's like bisexual, which, listen, I think that he's not the only player that is like that, I think that, a lot of these guys have to like hide their identity just because of, I feel like both of the leagues are kind of homophobic. Yeah. But I think it is like a weird situation. I mean, I don't know if it's true, like we don't know if these things actually happen. We don't know whether if it was consensual or not. Probably was consensual. Probably wasn't. We don't know. All we can do is kind of speculate about it. It doesn't really change my thoughts on Dwight Howard.
What, he'd be forever be a Laker? Huh? He'd forever be a Laker?
He what?
Forever be a Laker. You're big Lakers fan.
I mean, like when he was at the Lakers, he was kind of terrible, to be honest with you. I mean, I remember Kobe going up to him and being like, "You're going to play tonight," because he was so like, "Oh, timid. I don't know if I want to play," and all this other stuff. I remember when all that was going down. I didn't really like him there, but I think when he was with the Magic, he was a dominant
when he first
player.
Came into the league.
He was one of the best players. I
think he's supposed to replace Shaq. I guess like the new big man.
He was great. They went to the finals. And did a bunch of stuff, like I think he was one of the best players, pretty much one of the best big men, of this generation. Yeah. Now he's overseas, still playing.
Oh, he is? I didn't know he was.
He's playing overseas. He went into one of those leagues, and he's still making money and still doing things. So
okay, good for him.
But
good for him. So what are your thoughts? It's not where you can say allegedly, but the quote I read was from Baller Alert. And so you don't have this is not allegedly, because they said Dwight Howard acknowledged the hookup. So he did hook up with a guy. He acknowledged that, So the guy is saying that it was a threesome. He's stating that he was under the impression that he was going to go and hook up with Dwight Howard. I guess it's just going to be those, them two doing whatever. I guess he consented to that, but he didn't consent to a threesome with Kitty, whomever Kitty is. So I think that's when, and then he forced fellatio on him, on the guy, what he was saying. So, but yeah, I guess they interact in a threesome. They engaged in a threesome, and then he had Kitty take him home. So, and I know Dwight Howard, matter of fact, he had a kid with one of the ladies of Basketball Wives. I believe her name was Royce.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if she says anything about it. Maybe he's so you think he just straight up gay? Or maybe he's bisexual?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe he's bisexual.
Is it?
I think there's a lot of people who are going both ways in today's world.
You think so?
I think it's a different time. Yeah, and I think, again, I don't think he's the only player. Yeah. Especially if you listen to like people like what's that guy's name? James Charles. Apparently, he's had like multiple relationships with men.
James Charles.
Yeah, I think his name is. No, he's an influencer. He's not a basketball.
Oh, I was about to say I ain't never heard of what team he played. Shit, man.
No, he's like a YouTube star or something like that.
I was starting.
Wait. I don't know which one it is. It's either James Charles or it's probably Jeffree Star actually. I can't remember. I don't know who they are, but yeah. Anyways,
I'm starting to wonder about you seen Jimmy Butler's new look? Oh my god! I was like, dude, you think he's might on the be
emo? He's on the emo kick. That's what he said he was.
What is that?
Emo?
I mean, I'm slow. What is the emo?
I think I don't know what emo means, but it's
emoji.
Like,
I don't know. What is that?
No, I think it's like emotional. I think it's like an emotional person. So like, you know, they wear black. They have a bunch of like
piercing in their lips, and you see their perm.
They might have like tattoos,
and he has the nail polish,
the perm, and like the thing on the side. I didn't see.
But he wasn't he actually doing like the little?
Yeah, he was doing. Is
he tapping into his femininity?
I don't know, man. You know, maybe.
So do you think, which you were saying earlier about what he said, what you said? What did you call it? The feminization of men?
Oh yeah, I think you know.
You think this plays into the feminization of men nowadays?
I think so, but here's what I think about the whole conversation of the feminization of men, because you know you've seen it with you know, some of the singers and some of the different people. I just kind of like, when you think about history, I feel like men have always been a little bit flamboyant. The men that have been like more creative and in the public eye have always been kind of flamboyant. Mm-hmm. I mean, when you think about people like Elton John.
Well, Elton John is gay, so.
Right. Of course. I'm just saying. Well, you know, back in the day, though, did they really know that he was gay? Yeah. Did he come out back then?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
John Ben came out.
Well, then, you know, people
still love him, you know.
People like Michael Jackson. People like.
You think Michael Jackson was gay?
No, I'm just saying. He looks. He was kind of like feminized.
You think so?
I mean, he didn't wear like clothes like men would.
Yeah, Michael Jackson wore clothes like men. You got to realize, most of the time you saw Michael Jackson, he probably was in performance wear, but Michael Jackson wore regular. Now, if you want to talk about what you're talking about is androgynous,
you must mean Prince. Look at Prince.
You mean androgynous. Prince was definitely that's what they call back then, androgynous.
And
Rick James and
I mean, I just feel like we can't get on those same artists today who are wearing stuff like that.
Their artists wearing dress.
I mean, even like, listen, I might get in trouble for this, but even Elvis was like walking around with weird clothing on, I feel like.
But that was costume for stage.
I know. I'm just saying, like, this whole idea of like, oh, because you put on a certain type of clothing, you're feminized.
Well, okay, let's talk about now.
Okay.
From athletes to rappers, right? Mm-hmm. People in the line, and actors, athletes. Well, let's just say entertainers.
And entertainers.
Everybody's entertainers, right?
Yeah.
And if you want to specify rappers, athletes, musicians, actors, or what have you, how do you think they are? And by the way, he's not singling out any particular race. Am I correct?
No.
He's just talking about the male species in general.
Yeah, I'm talking about.
So what do you think now? Because I know I saw an article once with I know in Young Thug admitted to wearing women's jeans,
saying, but
because I did see like the way they fit, and I did see an article with him wearing a whole dress or something like that.
When he was on his Jeffrey kick or whatever.
That's what that was.
That's what he called himself, Jeffrey.
Oh, okay. And then people say certain things about some of the clothes that Russell Westbrook would wear sometimes was questionable.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts now? What do you think about
Usher,
that?
like wearing the skirt and stuff like that.
Oh, Usher wore.
Yeah,
is it a skirt or is it a kilt? Because Kanye did that too.
It could have been a kilt. I don't know.
Kanye wore a kilt, but Kanye also had, when they did that song, him and N-Words in Paris, him and Jay-Z. He had on the
Who's in Paris?
The N-Words.
Yeah.
He had on the black pants.
Yeah.
And then he had the kilt on with it, you know. And I remember there was art. It was on Twitter. Mm-hmm. You know what Lord Jamar is from Brand Nubian?
Mm-mm.
Okay, yeah, young dude. Anyway, Lord Jamal from Brand Nubian, he made a comment about Kanye's attire, and I think Marlon Wayne, you know who Marlon Wayans is.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, I think he was defending Kanye, and I saw this article years ago, and they were like going back and forth. I believe on Twitter, I think it was.
Oh, okay.
So what do you think now about? You think that's?
Listen, I think that, yes, are men being feminized in other areas? Like, do I think that, there is this idea that, oh, yeah, you can just kind of be like whatever you want to be, and you can just, like if you don't feel like it, you don't have to do it. Like the masculine like way of like, no, I got to get up and I got to fight even though like, things are going on in life, even though things are happening to me, like I still have to get up and fight. I think in that way, yes, men are becoming more feminized because now we're told, hey, like, oh yeah, you can just do whatever you want and it's okay. Like, it's a different time. Like men don't have to, be the ones who have to like fight through things. And, I think that's kind of a lie because, we still need the masculine, even though, I think that we've made strides away from what people would call toxic masculinity. I think we still need masculinity. So, yes, do I feel like people are less masculine in today's world? Absolutely. But when I look at these entertainers, they're not dressing any different than people in the 80s and the 70s. When you talk about certain types of people, like, I mean, to me, like, I just look at people like Michael Jackson, like he was wearing all kinds of stuff. When I look at people like Elvis, even, people may come after me for saying that, but like, or even Elton John, like there's so many other people like back in the day that were wearing, all kinds of stuff, but dresses and, very like open clothing. Listen, I know like back then, like when you think about the disco stuff that was going on, some people would dress a certain type of way, but to me, like it's no different in today's world.
You gotta look at now. You gotta look at now. Like take for example, like award shows and like the Met Gala.
Okay.
And they have certain themes or certain award shows. Men would wear certain outlandish things or certain things. They
like Harry Styles.
They feel it's very fashionable or whatever. I think people doing it, a lot of that stuff is definitely attention. Absolutely. I mean, it looks. Yeah, I mean, I admit it does look feminine. I mean, take Lil Nas X, for example. But isn't he's supposed to be gay, right?
Yeah.
Lil Nas X. So, of course, I know he's going to get attention, and I think he does things to rile people up as well, and it markets himself as well. But, yeah, I mean, does it look feminine? I mean, yeah, it do. But... Actually, no, there's no but. There's no but. I mean, granted, some of the things they wear, I mean, I don't care to wear. I mean, and I'm sure some of them have stylists and things like that.
Don't get me wrong. You won't catch me wearing anything like that.
What do you think? What do you think women think? What do you think the women think?
I think women definitely think that men have been feminized. And from their perspective, it is true. Because... I feel like, last time we were talking about men going up to women and being the person to initiate things and being the person to lead in a relationship. I feel like a lot of men have left those responsibilities. And, and I get it because, I think it's kind of hard in today's world when you're a man and you kind of are told, like holding open the door is like bad now. Or like, somebody might give you a look. Yeah, man.
I still hold doors open for women.
I mean, I do too. I hold doors open for everybody though, So, I mean, like, I think, some people have that sentiment, with the feminist movement. But, I think that, a lot of women would agree that men have become feminized. But also, I feel like, they're part of Maybe I shouldn't say that.
Smell his brain cooking.
No, I'm just saying, you know, they're a part of it too, because, you know, I feel like they're like, hey, you guys just open up. You guys just like do all these things. And I think a part of that is good, right? But I think that, you know, there still needs to be room for actual masculinity.
What do you think about like Kid Cudi? Because he did some things too, right? When
I like Kid Cudi.
But you saw how he was dressing, and guys, some not all guys, some guys are like painting their fingernails now.
I'm not saying I agree with all of that, you know, but I mean, listen, if they want to do that, I'm okay with it, you know. I'm not saying that I would do it, you know, but like, yes, does it make men look feminine? Yes, but I think that if you look at throughout history, men have been, you know, some men are more feminine than others.
Yeah.
So,
I think honestly, I think
especially when it comes to
some women, because they are entertainers. I think some women, or I'm not gonna say they don't care, they overlook it because of the limelight that said person is in, or because they're entertainers. I think if you like the average Joe, a regular person like you or I, dressing, you know, we doing a, you know, podcast, so we're walking around with, you know, flamingo stuff on with a almost like a blouse or something like that. I think they definitely say something. That's not to say that they don't say something about, you know, when they post on social media about some of these other people attire, but yeah, I think they would definitely say something to a regular person. But entertainers, I think sometimes they kind of, you know, well, they're entertainers, so they probably, I think they just probably overlook.
Yeah. I mean, I guarantee you Candace Owens is going to be talking about it. Oh. You know, like, yeah. But my thing is that, like, if you look at history, throughout history, especially entertainers, they've always kind of had, you know, that look. Now, you did have a good point of, like, that was like the times.
Yeah.
Like the things
in
that
the
was
80s,
going on
the
in the
androgynous,
times, right?
yeah.
But, you know, some people could make that.
You think it's going back to that?
They could say the same thing about, you know, now. You
think it's somewhat going back to a slight androgyny?
I think it's a little bit different, because I feel like more people, because, you know, we've kind of evolved, and thank God we did, you know, to where people could be open about who they are, and they could live their life out as who they are. And so we've kind of evolved in that way, that now there are more people coming out and kind of saying, this is me. This is how I want to live. Yep. But I mean, like, even in the 90s, man, look at Dennis Rodman. That man was wearing dresses.
A wedding
He
gown,
was doing all
makeup.
Kinds of, I mean, like you were talking about Jimmy Butler. But
yeah, he took it even further.
Look at Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman
you think that was for attention?
All kinds of stuff.
Yeah, he was. I think there was a lot of attention.
No, after he got with Madonna, he was a different man.
But he also dated Carmen Electra too.
Yeah, after he was.
But I don't think Madonna didn't had him like going.
Madonna's the one who, and this was actually in the Jordan documentary.
Okay.
She's the one who said, listen, you got to live your life and you can do whatever you want to do.
True. And
after she told him that, that's when he started like doing all the stuff he started doing, like wearing dresses and but piercings. And
what I'm saying is, though, but look at Rob. He's not doing that now. He did that when he was in the league.
Right.
Oh, that's why I think
he still wears a lot of weird piercings.
Yeah, of course, because you know, if you got piercings, then you know you're gonna wear piercings or whatever. But he's not wearing dresses and all kind of stuff like that. A lot of that, I think, that was like because it was a lot of attention based.
Okay.
You know, and some people, once you get caught up, you know, believe it or not, man, fame is a drug too. It's a drug.
Oh yeah.
It is a drug, man. It you know, releases all kind of endorphins. It's a drug, and some people get caught up, and I believe that some people will do whatever for that fame, you know, for that clout. People will do some things that you normally wouldn't do, you know, in your own home. And if you would do things in private that would be shunned socially, you wouldn't bring that out, you know. And that's how the people who get caught up, you know, in private, things that they're doing. Like, for example, with the Bill Cosby's and the Weinsteins. You know, they weren't like public, even though I saw some interviews with Bill Cosby, he said some things about Firefly and stuff like that. But allegedly those things were done in private, right? Whereas Dennis Rodman was doing these things publicly. But you never heard about Dennis Rodman molesting or, you know, doing anything with no female or nothing like that. You never heard anything. Right. That's why I think some of these might have been attention, you know, or clout or whatever, with that fame, you know. That's just my little take on this little rock that we call here Earth. So, you know. Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you guys for joining us and being here for another podcast. Another podcast. Hope we didn't bore you guys. Oh, before we go, I want to send a shout out real quick to my guy, Miguel Planner, a good school childhood friend of mine, grown man. We doing grown man things. His is a clothing line called Armani Pierce. It's a very cool clothing line. You need to holler at that brother. Amon Pierce, not Armani Pierce. Amon Pierce. This is his clothing line, and these are local clothing design, his own clothing line. Yeah, support him, Amon Pierce. Shout out to the local businesses here. Yeah, my boy Miguel Planner. Yeah, he's doing his thing. Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah, man. Absolutely. Yep. All right. Once again, I'm Brooks. And I'm Hendrix. And this was the Black Summit. And we out. We out. Peace. Peace.